and it comes together really quickly. But I thought Priti and I had talked about doing a quick salad or a not so quick salad, so everyone can have a little crunchy snack while we're prepping everything else. All right. So, like I said, pretty simple. You're going to put in some salt, and it's a lot of cucumbers, so it's going to be maybe more salt than I think, but I'm not going to go crazy yet. And then some mirin. Yeah, here's some salt, some mirin. And I got, at the Green Village, they have this organic mirin, but it's just like a sweet rice wine and rice vinegar. And I actually, when we were testing the tech on Thursday, I made this for Priti, so she's tested it already. And a little bit of sugar. And I just need like a big spoon to mix as well. And a little bit of sugar. So there's something that I learned, Salma, is when I took the cooking class in Thailand, I learned the importance of the balance between the salty and the sweet and the sour. And I think sometimes we just don't think of it. We cook, we eat, we know what we like. But having that balance, especially in Thai cooking, is super important. So same with this particular salad. You need the tangy, you need the salty, but you also need the sweet. So, yeah. This is one of those dressings where literally I just do it until it tastes right. So I think before it goes into our cookbook, I will definitely, yeah, just like this. But this is one of the recipes that I will, I think, measure out before it goes into said cookbook. But I really just do it till it tastes correct. Yes, the school's cooking. The one your mom was talking about. Alright, so you've got your vinegars, you've got the mirin, you've got salt and some sugar. Actually, I might have it right.
Everyone's gonna have a snack while the cooking gets done on the stove, yeah?
Yeah. And then it will be a little less awkward that I have to turn my back to you, so you can have something to eat while I'm talking that way. Alright. So, again, super simple, salt, vinegar, mirin, and then when you want to make it pretty, not that pretty, aesthetically pretty, you use some sesame seeds. So you sprinkle a little some sesame seeds on top to make it look nice. I don't know, can the camera see it? They can't see it. Where should I go? To here?
Yes.
Yeah. Alright. Ooh, so fancy. Alright. I think it's probably good.
Daniel, do you want to come in the bowls to have your wife serve everyone?
This is my normal sous-chef. I don't know how camera shy he is, but he's my normal sous-chef at home. Okay. I'm gonna switch to it. Alright. I'm gonna switch to here. Oh, you're fine. Okay. Oh, and I brought this because it's something my grandma gave me. It's a Japanese acorn. It's all weird. So why not?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, question.
Is there a reason because it's under heat so long time?
No, it was just so I didn't have to turn it on. So I just turned it on for me.
Okay. Because sometimes you know the temperature.
Yeah. No, it'll be okay.
You just forgot.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Yeah. Okay. So we are going to get started. You just want to put a little bit of oil in your pan.
You should feel very comfortable here then.
Is it okay? Very good. Alright. At this point, keep going. Keep going. Alright. So we're going to start cooking the sukiyaki. And then, Jad, Hamza, when you guys are done with the carrots, let me know because I need you to slice the meat for me. Alright. So I put a little bit of oil in the pan. So the one thing my mom always did is she cut all the onions first, mainly because she hates the onions and they make her cry. So you cut all the onions. You done with the carrots? And save the greens, because we can use those. Those greens, save those. Yeah, we can use those. You can do all kinds of good things with them. Yeah. So, now that you're done with the carrots, if you could, I've got a bunch of meat, and what you need to do is, you'll see there's a little bit of like the thread that the butcher used. You just want to pick off the thread, and then you want to thinly slice the meat. I guess I can demonstrate that.
What's really nice is that there's marketing with community. There's Arabic, there's French, there's English, there's Japanese, there's Spanish.
I got a couple of kilos because I wasn't sure. We were just going to taste. Alright, so what I need you to do is I need you to, first of all, look to see because there's a little bit of like the thread from the butcher. So just take that off. And then take the fat off. Because we're actually going to use the fat. But just take the fat off because you can render this into the skillet, so we'll do that. And then with this, so one thing, I'm super spoiled living either in Taiwan or in America because it's really hard to find the right thin cut meat that they used in like the hot pot dishes. But our butcher down the street is really sweet, so he cut the meat really thin. And then I'm going to have my assistants just thinly slice it into just thin strips. And then we'll put it in a bowl. Is that the fat? Perfect. Yes.
Any questions about the meat?
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you. Alright. Okay, so Because I am lazy, usually in America I would just buy it already sliced. It's usually very thin and in small strips like that. But you make do with what you can, with what you have. So we're going to use the tallow and render that out for the cooking of the meat. And then, so gentlemen, if you, perfect, is this the, where we're putting this at? Yeah. Great. And then you just want to thinly slice the meat into just strips.
Alright. So
Yep.
how much is it?
It doesn't matter. It cooks really quick. Hello, Brian. Welcome.
Thank you, Lisa.
So yeah, you just thinly slice it. If you can't find it already done for you. Alright, where is the slice?
Slice right there. No, we need a slice right there. Yeah, we slice it.
Alright, I'm just gonna leave this here. Alright, if somebody wants to slice this one over here. No, I mean, you can slice it here. There's another one too. Alright, now that we've got that sorted. Yeah. I've got the best sous-chefs. Thank you. And where is the garbage? Where should I put the trash? And then make sure you wash your hands when you're dealing with meat, because you know, it is a thing. I'm just gonna wash my hands real quick. Don't mind me. So yeah, but it's a really easy dish. I know it looks like we're intensive because we're chopping everything and that takes a while. But once you have everything chopped, it's easy. Okay. So, this is how my mom and my grandma always do it. They've got a little bit of oil in the pan, they've got their onions chopped, and so then the first thing you do is you just put your onions in the pan and let them cook down.
There was oil inside or?
Yes. We have two chefs who joined in. Fabiana is a should I move this? Is this okay? Okay. All right. I'm gonna do the second pan for our vegetarian friends. Okay, so you got your onions cooking, and you just let them, what is that called when they wilt? They melt down a little, they soften. I don't know, it's maybe a medium heat, maybe? Oh, no, it's fine. I'm just trying to think of like directions. Because I just do and I don't talk about what it is that I do. But you let the onions soften, cook down a little. And so the way that my grandma always did it is she put the onions in first and then she puts the meat in next. And you just kind of move things around. So you make room in the pan because eventually everything goes in the pan. And so when we're done, you'll see all of the elements in the pan itself. And there's more salad, so if people feel like they need to munch, we can move that down so people can do that. But anyways, you do that, and then we add in our meat. We're almost ready for that part. So while things are cooking, usually what you do is you chop everything else while things are softening. We'll throw the meat in. Once we put the meat in, we use half of the sauce. And then we'll put in the noodles, the tofu, the cabbage, and we'll put in the rest of the sauce, and then it just cooks until it's done. So at this point, everything goes pretty quickly. So we want to start the rice if you haven't started the rice yet. So it's been soaking, I washed it. We'll start the rice, and that'll be done. This is kind of an experiment. I've never actually used the rice cooker to capacity before. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully the texture is okay.
What's next, chef?
Chef. If you could cut just the cabbage, so watch the cutting boards, because we don't want to contaminate. This one needs to be chopped as well. Okay. And then if you could, so one of you can watch the cutting board, you can finish the meat. And then the cabbage just needs to be chopped in, roughly chopped, so I would cut it to look, kind of like this, you know. It can be kind of big. It's going to wilt down, so you don't have to worry too much. So these vegetables, the bok choy, the cabbage, you can just cut them into little pieces, and that doesn't matter too much. The main sauce ingredients for the, you know what I just realized? Did I put sesame oil in the salad dressing? I don't think I did.
You did.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay.
You put sesame oil.
Yeah, I put sesame seeds, but it's supposed to have sesame oil. Is it in there? It's not in there. Oh, you guys are tasting like a different vegetable salad.
Oh, at least the students what they get.
Yeah, it's fine. It's the live fail. It was bound to happen. I remembered most things this morning, but it is what it is. All right. So the other thing you're missing in that salad is that sesame velvety oil flavor that you're not getting. You know. So if you want to like sprinkle some of that in, be my guest. Sorry about that. Okay. So we've got the vegetables cooking. Do I want to what? Yeah, Selma's got it. Selma can take care of it. Thank you, Selma. Just a little drizzle and then stir it all together. Okay. I'm heating up the water for the vermicelli noodles, which is really loud, by the way, so I hope everyone can hear me. It's fine. We'll soften those for about 10 minutes before we put them, or maybe less.
Where did you find the cabbage in there?
At the farmer's market, garden restaurant. It's General Constant Gardens. They go.
I've never seen it before.
There's a farmer's market every Saturday.
Okay.
At Garden Restaurant.
Much of it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. How are we doing on the meat? Is the meat ready? Gentlemen, lovely, excuse mine. Is the meat good to go? Yes. Can I take this away from you guys? I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back. Okay, so you get your onion softening. Thank you, Jad. And then you want to put in your meat. Yeah?
Here you go.
Thank you, Ryan. I definitely think this is why in cooking shows I have everything chopped ahead of time. And then this is the fat. I'm gonna do it in the other dish. We're just gonna try and render out some of the tallow. Should I move the bowl? No, I'm just okay.
Where?
Yes. Maybe just get in that bowl for now. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Where you come from? I've got lovely. Okay. Okay, so.
Yes, teacher.
Alright, let me use my teacher voice. I use my teacher voice all the time. So, in this pan, this is, like I said, this is the pan that I traditionally, like we make at home with the family, is we put everything in the same dish. You start with your onions. Once your onions are softened, you put in the meat, and you get the meat to start to brown a little. I'm also separating it out because we have some lovely friends that I want to feel included that don't eat meat. So in this bowl, we're just rendering out, so this is the fat that was on the meat that we removed. We're just going to try and render out some of the tallow or the oil there to season the meat. So once you get it browned, then you want to start to add your sauce. And this is kind of a universal Japanese flavoring or Japanese seasoning sauce. But we're going to take and I went and got like a bunch of other soy sauces, nothing against the ones at Carrefour, but I went to find some ones that weren't the Chinese brand. The basic ingredients is soy sauce, sugar, and a little bit of mirin. So they use mirin a lot. The other thing they use that my grandma uses, but I had a hard time finding, is sake. They'll use that as a cooking wine as well. But I couldn't find it, and so it's not that important. My mom, by the way, never uses it when she makes this. She just uses soy sauce, sugar. Sometimes she doesn't even use the mirin. So you just kind of want to brown the beef a little, and then you'll season it with the sauce. And again, like I said, I don't ever measure anything. I just go until it tastes correctly. But the recipes that I looked at online, they traditionally do a cup of soy sauce, a cup of mirin, and a half a cup of sugar, right? I don't like it super, super sweet, so I usually mess with it. Like I said, I cook until I like it, and then that's kind of my MO. But in general, those are your guidelines. So you've got like equal amount soy sauce and cooking wine, and then sugar is about half of that. So we're going to attempt to try to replicate the flavors. I have to soften this up a little. Alright. And it looks like we're starting to render out a little bit of the fat here, so this will be good. We'll cook the meat in this pan. Maybe all of the beautiful dogs out there could get a little fat in their dinner tonight. Ooh. Because Lord knows I spoil my dog. Alright. So, I brought like all my chopsticks because Chrissy said she didn't have any, so I've got like a whole container of them.
You find chopsticks helpful?
Chopsticks helpful? Yeah. I can give you all a nice little lesson on how to use them.
Isn't it also traditional to use chopsticks?
Yeah, which I looked up, the French word is bâton, right? Like stick, baguette. Is there a real word for these? Anyone? I just either know. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But this is perfect. Just like that. Yep. I'm going to try not to burn my clothes. With the soy sauce, and then you put in the meat in. So we got us a little bit of fat that we'll use the meat for the separate dish. How's it going, Dad? Do you need something to do? Do you need something to do? Okay. So we need to cut the popcorn, just the same.
So what's your favorite dish that
We are done. Yeah. Say a few words. Yeah. Sorry.
everything got shut down? But we were, you know, it's our first year, so we did it, you know, we wanted to, I like visuals, so I like it, you know.
Okay,
the colors to it and
so,
all that,
as it starts to come together, again, like I said, in my family, we always put it all in the same. So once you get the sauce, the onions, and the meat kind of browned and going, then you just start to add in all your vegetables. So I put in the carrots, I'm going to put in the cabbage and the bok choy. I'm going to put in the tofu. How do you chop the bok choy?
Cut it from the center.
So, you can, it's a rough chop, right? It doesn't have to be, it's going to melt. So you just want to cut it kind of roughly. And then the other thing is, I know there's all these like fancy terms, julienne and all of these. This dish is very informal. Just cut it, put it in your pan. Okay, so the other thing we need to do is we need to soften the vermicelli noodles. So this bowl you can fill with the hot water and then you get the noodles in. So typically I use yam noodles or shirataki noodles. I can't find them here. So everything online said just use vermicelli. You can find vermicelli everywhere. So we've got hot water, and all you're going to do is soak it. It says 10 minutes, but we're not going to do 10 minutes because we're going to stick it in the skillet. But we're just going to soften the vermicelli for a minute, and we will. Perfect, thank you, Dad.
Do we need more water maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
How are you doing?
No pressure. Welcome to the kitchen. Yeah. How are you, Elias? Good, good, good. Yeah, my grandmother on my mom's side. So I'm a border.
Hello.
Hello, Chef. Hello. That sounds exciting. Yeah, it's just soy sauce and meat. And a little bit of sugar. That's it. Yes. Yeah. Just a sweetener of some kind. Shukran. Shukran, Mr.
Oh yeah? Freeze it? Yeah, we were hoping that he had, one of those slicers, but they didn't have it, so. But it's okay. It'll still taste okay.
Okay, so the veggies are cooking down. And the one thing that I would say people in general, tofu for whatever reason is not a loved ingredient, but it should be. So here's my tip. If you don't like tofu, it's because whatever sauce they put it in, you don't like. Because tofu, it's just fermented soybean, it soaks up any sauce that you cook it with. Oh, look, he knows. He knows it's
Isn't it harder to season tofu?
I mean, again, it's all about what you cook it with. So if you cook it plain, it's going to taste plain. So, for whatever reason, firm tofu is very hard to find here. This is the extra firm tofu that you can find at the Carrefour. But it's pretty soft. So we're going to just pretend that it's firm tofu. I also found some lacto-fermented tofu at one of the grocery stores. But it's very simple. It slices very simply. You're just going to cut it into cubes. sauce. And the longer you let it cook in the sauce, or the more sauce you add, the better it's going to taste. Because it tastes like whatever it is you cook in. So, for all you tofu naysayers out there, it's just because you've had a bad sauce, or you've had someone who doesn't know that it takes on the flavor of what it is you are cooking. So we're gonna put the tofu in. You see the vegetables start to cook down, and really that's all you're waiting for. The meat at this point is done. The noodles are done. We're just gonna put them into our pot. So again, as you can see with the big one, which we'll kind of glamorize on the camera, a little bit of everything goes in it. So you just kind of push things over. While everyone was having like their social moment, I added the shiitake mushrooms. You can dice them. My mom actually doesn't really use them. I really like them, but they are kind of a strong flavor. They are a little chewy, especially here. You can't find them fresh, to my knowledge. If you know, let me know. So they're just rehydrated from a dried package. But they are a strong flavor that will add that kind of umami to the dish. So once you get to the point where you're putting all the vegetables together in the pot, you then add the rest of your sauce. So you kind of start with half the sauce and the meat and kind of the onions, and then you add the rest of the sauce when you put in the rest of your veggies. So we'll call that good for now. Oh, and in general, like fun cultural tip, don't put your chopsticks in things like this, or in your bowl of rice, straight up and down. It mimics incense, like honoring the dead, so it is considered a cultural taboo. So don't do that. Fun fact, something to know.
That one's super dark, really good.
It's not dark, it's just good to know when you travel, right? You don't want to offend people.
Yeah, you're right.
Alright, cooking chopsticks for here. And you can see, right, the pan is super crowded, but everything fits magically. So we're just going to scoot over the bok. Thank you, sous-chef. We're going to scoot over the bok choy, the green onions, and we're just going to add this tofu. Not that one. Keep those to that. Okay, keep that for now. And I'm going to add the rest of the sauce. Like I said, I will look up better dimensions. I just go till it tastes right. It's way more like sugar and soy sauce than you think. I also reserved the shiitake mushroom soaking liquid, so you can use that a little to kind of add a little bit of water. So it should taste good. If you have a lid, you can put a lid on to get the greens to wilt a little quicker. This is the soaking liquid from the shiitake mushrooms. Okay. So we rehydrated them because I couldn't find them fresh. Yeah. So you kind of stir it all in. And then because it's very much a family style dish, you take this entire platter, put it on the table, and everyone has essentially something like this size in Japan, where you've got your bowl. What you have in it is your rice, and then you just eat out of it. Because of Corona and because we're all not that close yet, we're gonna put it all into different bowls because, you know. But come to my house and you can eat out of the bowl with me. It's fine. Because, you know, that's what food does. I think this is a testament to that. Food brings us together. We're interested. We learn about each other through food. One of the things I forgot that Priti told me I should mention is if you have grandparents or older people in your communities in general, talk to them. They've got amazing stories. For whatever reason, little 12-year-old Mackenzie decided, Grandma, I want to know how to make sushi. So Grandma came over, bought me all these things, and we had an afternoon. And that sticks with me, right? She's still around, but she doesn't make sushi anymore. She's in her 90s. She's going to be 91 next month. So, you know, really interesting stories. I was telling, I can't remember if it was the geography class, I think it was. But you know, I don't think it was you particularly, Ryan, but you're in that class and I'm looking at you very awkwardly. But I took Asian American Women's Studies course as part of my ethnic studies major, and I interviewed my grandma as part of one of the projects. And she came with a box, she took out photos, she left, and my mom came into the room and said, those are things I've never seen. So it's amazing what you can learn if you just ask. You know, I learned that in Iowa, my grandma came to the United States just after World War II in the 50s. And in Iowa, her father-in-law, who was American, taught her how to drive, although the insurance company would not insure her because she was Japanese. So there's just really interesting stories. Gotta love the father-in-law, whom I never met because he's very old. But he apparently took the entire family off the insurance and said, if you don't insure my daughter-in-law, you can insure our family. So like you learn really interesting, cool stories about family, about, wait, sorry, I'm trying to be veggie friendly. I've got my veggie chopsticks over here, and we need to add some soy sauce and some tofu to that one. But anyways, this is what it looks like in general when we cook it at home. It's all in the same pot, everything kind of wilts down. The tofu looks like it needs a little bit more soy sauce because it should turn kind of a light tan color. And then you just eat a little bit of everything with rice. So that is what I have to share with you. Should I wrap it up or should I keep talking? Because I can keep talking. So we're going to taste, and then we're going to, obviously this is not going to feed all of us a lot, so there's other food I hear coming, so we don't have to worry about that.
So with that, I would like to thank Mackenzie Young for this amazing session and for sharing. And really, she's been amazingly generous. She's cooked for everyone, so there's food for everyone to share. And if anyone wants extra tips, come and ask her. So thank you.
You're welcome.
For sharing your family history, your travels.
I said to Pretty, if anybody else would have asked me, I would have said no.
Thank you, Pretty. Thank you. And I'm also thrilled to announce that ASM mom, Kabira, is going to host the next MasterChef series. A big hand. And now may I request our head of school, Dr. Asato, to close the session and to present Mackenzie a little book that we have for her. It's a cooking book by Rukmini Iyer, who's an Indian chef, but New York Times bestseller list, and her forte is also to cook complicated dishes, but in one cooking tray. So in the same way that you presented a food on a platter, she's doing the same thing. So thank you so much. Dr. Asato, to you.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you again for providing us, bringing the community together, providing us a taste of Japan sukiyaki from your grandmother's recipe. It's absolutely just heartwarming. Thank you to the sous chefs. Thank you to thank you to the parents and the students, everyone who came here today. And of course, thank you to the Kadiris for opening up their kitchen to all of us here. We're really excited to taste the sukiyaki and have a nice afternoon together in fellowship. So thank you again.
Don't forget to take a picture for your Foodstagram because I gotta drop it on my Instagram. Let's eat. Let's
So
eat.
when you I'm sure you're gonna say this, but right before you eat, you say itadakimasu in Japanese.
Itadakimasu.
Excellent.
We say Bismillah.
Hey, my dog even knows that. She can't eat until we say itadakimasu.
Okay, let's eat.
Alright.
Come, everyone come to share this.
You mean a Peruvian?
Come. Should we just file up? How should we do this?
Let me,
cameras off.